Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of RiesKitchen. Today we're making a French classic, lemon tarts. There's not many ingredients, it's a simple technique, but they do take a little while. So let's get stuck into it, shall we? So first up in our ingredients we have plain flour, in my case gluten-free of course, unsalted butter, chilled water, and then for the filling we have eggs, caster sugar, lemons and cream. So to begin with, the most important thing is about our tin. So what we really want is a flan tin, and I'm going to use individual, or you could use a 20cm large one, and it's the kind there the bottom comes out. Makes it much easier for taking our tarts out later. Don't forget though, before we put our pastry in, that we need to cut circles of baking paper to be able to do our blind bake. So in my case, I've got a piece of paper and drawn around the bottom 8 times. Cut them out just a little bit larger than the circle, because that way they can come up and stop your beads sticking into the pastry when we blind bake them. So the first step to making our short crust pastry is we have our flour in the bowl, then our chilled butter in, put the top on, and just pulse that till it's bigger than breadcrumbs but quite a fine mix. So let's have a look. That's not quite. That looks pretty good. So now we're going to add our chilled water, and I'm going to have it running and slowly adding it through. So now I'm going to put that out on my board and give it a bit of a knead. So now on our floured pastry mat, and with some floured hands, I'm just going to bring that into a ball and all together. So now I'm just going to pack that into a flat cake, now that it's all together. Pop it on a piece of cling film and pop it in the fridge to rest for about half an hour. So now we just need to roll out our pastry. So a little bit more flour on my board. And we need to move fairly quickly because we want to keep this cool. So just rolling it out. So now that I've rolled the pastry out to about 3mm thick, I'm going to cut it into 8 pieces. Flour my scraper a little bit so that I can lift this off in one piece. And very gently place it down onto my tin. Now with a little bit that I have extra from the side there, I'm just going to use that to help me push it into the side of the tin. Now pastry can shrink a little bit when we cook it, so we don't want to make them the perfect height right now. We want to leave a little bit of overhang, but I've got quite a bit of overhang happening on these, so I'm just going to trim them just a little bit. So now we're going to put our 8 little tins into the fridge for about 20-25 minutes, just so that they get nice and chilled again while my oven heats up to 200 degrees centigrade fan forced. So before we place these into the oven, we need to put our beads in. So pop the paper in and just weigh it down, making sure that no bead is actually touching the pastry. So now we're going to pop these in the oven for 10 minutes, then we're going to take them out, remove our beads and paper and put them in for another 5 minutes. So I've just taken them out of the oven, and I'm going to take the beads out now, remembering they'll be really hot. So these go back in the oven for another 5 minutes just to let the bases finish cooking. So now I'm just going to zest and juice our lemons. So now it's time to pull these out. And we can see that they're evenly cooked and there's no little fine cracks. We're pretty good. So now we need to let those cool while we finish making our custard to go inside. Now for our filling, we're just going to pop our eggs in the mixer with our sugar and mix this well. Now to get the smoothest custard, I'm just going to tip our mixture through a sieve. Now turn your oven down to 160 degrees centigrade on fan forced, and now we're just going to put all the rest of our custard back together. So tipping that back in and adding our lemon juice, a little bit of a mix. Now I want to add our zest. This is the bit that gives it the real lemon flavour. And last but not least, adding the cream. And mix well. Now to put it all together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put mostly filled these now. I'm going to pop my tray on my oven rack and then I'm going to top them up. That way we don't get any spills and we get them filled right to the top. So into each one. So we'll pop them in the oven on the tray. Look at that. Now the hard part. We have to wait until these have cooled in the tins. For all the details of today's recipe, don't forget to check out my blog at the link below. But as always, the best bits in the eating. The short crust pastry is just so crisp and the filling is creamy and the lemon just pops. That perfect ratio between filling and pastry. Until next time everybody, ciao.